and welcome to Asian Pulse TV, an informative and resourceful station. I'm your host Manny Randhawa, who is always glad to be joining you all for another great episode on Asian Pulse. We are broadcasting from the unceded territories of Silvertooth Nation, Mokim, and Kwantlen Nations. We all are very blessed for the generosity of the first people of this land who let us share this traditional and sacred land with them. From November 16 to December 10th, it's known as 16 Days of Activism. There are different events held every weekend to bring awareness. Gender-based violence is one common platform which needs to be addressed. So there are free and confidential services that provide support to these women who are in domestic violence by just talking about it, providing information, and providing resources on how and where they can get some help. Free yourself from domestic violence. Call 1-800-583-0808. In the last episode, we also talked about November as Sikh Nation Blood Donor Month. So have you donated some blood? Every time you're donating blood, you're saving 3 lives. Blood is in you to give. Spread the word and give blood if you're well and healthy. Let's take a short break and hear some words from our sponsors.
I understand how important it is to have a place called home, and it's frustrating using your hard-earned money on rent. Vic Prasad can make you a homeowner. Get pre-approved services provided to first-time buyers and new immigrants. You can qualify for mortgage even if you have bad credit. Call Vic Prasad now on 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is associated with Craft Mortgages Canada Incorporated. I understand how important it is to have a place called home, and it's frustrating using your hard-earned money on rent. Vic Prasad can make you a homeowner. Get pre-approved services provided to first-time buyers and new immigrants. You can qualify for mortgage even if you have bad credit. Call Vic Prasad now on 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is associated with Craft Mortgages.
For astrology service, life horoscope, and fortune telling, marriage problem, love problem, divorce problem, money problem, personal or business, all types of puja and havan. Call Pandit Lakshminath Guruji 1604-849-4872, serving Alberta and BC.
Arvind's Curry and Cocktail, Indian cuisine. They do catering for all occasions and they do free delivery. Please call 604-515-1070. Address is 420 6th Street, New Westminster. Open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. For deliveries, call 604-515-1070 or arvindscurry.com.
Bollywood Banquet Hall and Conference Center, located at Pile Business Center at 201-8166 128th Street in Surrey. No celebration is too small to accommodate you. They have newly renovated 2 halls to serve you, up to 1,000 guest capacity, top-notch chefs to delight you with delectable and heavenly cuisine. So just call Bollywood Banquet Hall at 604-598-2700 for your events.
Thank you, sponsors. Would you like to highlight your business, or would you like to support the show that we have been putting on air from the last 25 years? This is your opportunity to do so. You can always call the number that is given for you in the credits. Moving to our guest in-house today, we have Linda Annis, Councillor with City of Surrey. She's here to talk about municipal elections and what's at stake at the City Hall. And also, she would talk about RCMP and SPS. Where we go from here now, let's have a look.
Welcome to Asian Pulse, and we are broadcasting this show from the unceded territory of Kwantlen, Silvertooth, and Musqueam Nation. And thank you for the first people of this land to be able to allow us to share the land with you. And my guest today is Linda Annis, and she is a councillor with the City of Surrey. I think this is the second or third term. I didn't ask her, but she was elected before. But this was time she's with Surrey Fast, and she got the most votes. I was looking at the votes. She got the most vote as a councillor to go back for another term with the Surrey or the City of Surrey. So welcome, Linda, and congratulations for winning back your seat, and with overwhelming margin as well.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure, as always, to be here, and it's a real honor to be going back to City Hall to be able to serve the residents of Surrey.
I know for the last 4 years it was chaos, right? As you all know, people, even you were elected under the same banner, but people weren't there, only there were a lot of kerfuffle happening. And so this is the first time, I think, this is the time when I was going to say that this other party won. Brenda Locke as a mayor win the election, and she had her own slate, so there were 4 councillors, and the other ones are from independent.
Well, actually, last time when I got elected, I was the only one that wasn't part of the former Mayor Doug McCallum's slate. Brenda and the rest of the team were all Surrey First, or Surrey Safe Surrey Coalition, I should say, candidates that got elected. So I was the solo voice for Surrey First, and this time I'm really pleased. I have a colleague joining me, Mike Bowes, who's actually his great-grandfather was the first mayor for the city of Surrey. So it's nice to have him on board, along with 2 returning candidates that were part of the Safe Surrey Coalition.
So whatever happened before and now, how do you feel? I mean, before nobody used to go there, and you were just sworn in the other day, I see on the social media and things like that. So how is it to be sitting in the council's chair now with the new mayor?
Well, we really haven't had our first council meeting yet, other than our swearing-in ceremony, so time will tell. Mayor Locke has said that she's going to be open to new ideas, that she's going to encourage her members that belong to her party not to always vote along the party lines. And I do hope that she continues to advocate that, because it's very important that we all have independent voices. If we only needed 2 opinions like last time, you only need 2 councillors, and we have 9 voices there, and all 9 voices need to be heard.
What do you think when Brenda Locke says, I got elected based that yes, DS should remain, should go, and RCMP will remain to take care of Surrey? Do you have any?
I think that's an absolutely foolish statement, because 72% of all those voters that went out and voted on election day did not support Brenda Locke. She got 28% of the voter turnout, and the voter turnout's very small. She does not have a mandate to be making those kinds of statements. And I might also add that last go around, she was the one that came out and said, Mayor McCallum kept saying he got a mandate, and she was correcting him. And it's a very similar thing this go around. What we really need to be doing is allowing the people of Surrey to make the decision once and for all, and we can only do that by having a referendum. It's a very controversial subject in Surrey.
So the referendum costs a lot of money, as we all know, and when only 28% go and vote, any referendum, any election, it's not Surrey but everywhere else, or at least 30% go and vote in municipal election, when they don't consider municipal election as important as federal and provincial. Do you think that you want to put that out to vote? Because, even the people, even with Surrey Police Department, they did a survey or something, and they say 95% of the Surrey Police Department, they will not join RCMP or any other police department because they have left their job. Some of them came from Ontario, some came from VPD with very big, high portfolio post in their sergeants and detectives and all that. They're not going to take them back. That job is gone. So the anxiety that is building up, this 95% of the city police, what do you say to them?
Well, what I would say, first of all, this police transition, whether you support the Surrey Police Service or you support the RCMP, can't continue to be a political football. We need to make a decisive decision. And under the Police Act, and let's just say hypothetically we switch back to the RCMP, in 4 years' time, a new mayor, a new council could switch back to Surrey Police Service. We can't be doing that. It's a very, very costly undertaking. If we move forward with the Surrey Police Service, I would venture, and quite frankly, I don't have the facts, nobody does, we don't know how much we've spent yet, but I would believe that the transition is going to be somewhere in the area of $200 million. Just based on, other cost estimates for other municipalities, but we don't know for sure. We need to get the facts on the table. For us to have a referendum, yes, it is expensive, but not nearly as expensive as completing the transition or reverting back to the RCMP. So let's do it once, and let's do it right, and let's make sure that the Police Act is amended so that it can't become a political football in future councils.
I 100% agree with that. It's cheaper to do that now. How soon do you think this anxiety that is building up with both? It's not like RCMP and study, it's both. And she's saying, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And the Attorney General or the Minister of Solicitor General, and he says, I haven't seen neither of these two parties that have with the Surrey Police or with Brenda Locke's whatever she wants to do. They haven't seen a platform, they haven't seen any report, they haven't seen nothing, how it's all going to be done. So it's even the mayor, Doug McCallum, was there for last 4 years, and since day one he got elected, he started working and dismantling RCMP and trying to bring, they are saying there are about 300 people being hired. But there was no plan in place, the cost-wise, and how they're going to run it. We need a police, right? We cannot just because of this argument between the two parties that nobody is taking care of Surrey or the people of Surrey. The safety is at risk. So none of them has submitted that. So don't you think that's about time that we all have to get our acts together and submit whatever you need to do?
We absolutely need to get our act together. This is hugely troubling. It's my concern is for the public safety of the residents of Surrey as we go through this. What should we be doing? Surrey Police Service, RCMP. The other piece that we've not talked about, Mayor Locke's not talked about, nor did the former Doug McCallum, we don't have enough police officers in Surrey. If you look at Surrey, we have, with the RCMP, 843. If we have everybody in active duty. With the Surrey Police Service, the number was 803. We have not hired one single police officer since 2017, yet Surrey has grown by 50,000 people. If you were to compare Surrey to Vancouver, Vancouver has almost 1,500 police officers, and they're hiring more. Our population is 85% of Vancouver, and geographically as big as Burnaby, Richmond, and Vancouver combined. The numbers don't make sense. So we need to get this straight once and for all, get the policing model that the Surrey residents need and deserve, and get on with it.
That was one thing. Secondly, the other thing that also came about is paying McCallum's legal cost bills. I know the case is over and they will be deciding whether his charge is guilty or not. That's not up to us to decide. It's in the hands of the courts and they will do it. But paying the cost for the representation with a very top-notch lawyer in the country. And that's the first thing Brenda Locke said, that we're going to stop that. And it should be stopped because it has nothing to do with the city of Surrey, and cities' taxpayers are paying for it.
And I couldn't agree more. To me, when you're grocery shopping, that doesn't fall under council or mayoralty duties. That's not something that the residents of Surrey are paying us to go out and do, number one. Second of all, I would say, if you were going to be using your own money to go and hire a lawyer for what Doug McCallum was charged with, would you arguably hire the most expensive lawyer or one of the most expensive lawyers in British Columbia? My answer would be no. It's not responsible use of taxpayers' money. I would certainly be advocating, whether Doug McCallum is found guilty or not, that he should be paying his own tax bills. If he was out on city business, it's a different story. But clearly grocery shopping is personal time, personal business, and again, would you hire the most expensive lawyer?
Another thing that also came up was the bang up truck or whatever, the city car or SUV that right after he lost the election it was parked and seems like somebody ran into it or damaged and all that. I mean, how unethical that can be, because before that he was driving that all right. As soon as he lost the election and when he is to return the truck, it is in that shape. Even if there was an accident, we should have, don't you think, should have been taken care of that before that?
He absolutely owes an answer to the residents of Surrey. It's a city vehicle, and whether it was an accident, whether it was vandalism, or whatever it was, I don't know what happened, but he should be speaking out about it and explaining it. He's asking the residents to pay the bill. It's their vehicle. You owe an explanation to the residents. He's not given that. He's just walked away from it and dumped it at city property. That's not good.
Yeah. Do you support ethnic counselor or ethnic commissioner or something that they are trying to put to make sure even every counselor, mayor, everybody elected is accountable to and answerable to? Do you support that?
I absolutely support having an ethics commissioner. It's really, really important. Most big cities have it, and that's somebody that, keeps us, can provide us with education so that we're doing the best possible processes for our residents in Surrey from a legislative perspective. And if residents or people think that we're going astray, they have a complaint process to be able to have their voices heard. Unfortunately, Mayor McCallum, or I guess ex-Mayor McCallum now, got rid of that about 6 months before the election occurred, and that was just wrong. People need to be able to have a right to be able to voice their concerns if they think councillors aren't doing a good job. And we also need someone to guide us as a councillor so that we're doing what we know is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm. So I don't live in Surrey, but I work in Surrey. I do my business in Surrey. I shop in Surrey. That's what I do. Do you think, you tell me, do you have police on the schools, like when you were talking about Vancouver got rid of that, and with the new mayor, Ken Sims, he says he's going to bring all the police back in the schools because they feel safe, because they don't get recruited in gangs and all that. So do you here in Surrey, do you have RCMP in every school ground?
We have RCMP that act as school liaison officers, but we don't have enough, largely because we don't have enough police officers in Surrey. And I think it's absolutely critical. They're not just in the schools policing, but they're also making connections with you so that you feel comfortable come and talk to them before there is a problem. And I think that's hugely, hugely important. And I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but I also run the Crime Stoppers program for the Lower Mainland Policing District. And we work super closely with the RCMP and other polices in other jurisdictions and putting on school programs so that people know, kids particularly, how they can report or how they can go and talk to a police officer or talk to their school counselor. And it's hugely important that we keep those lines of communication open.
Mm-hmm. I work in Surrey and I do my business in Surrey. I talk to the people. I'm always out and about and talking and very political as well. And people are saying, if you're speeding in Surrey, because there are so many times after the accident, then police will show how fast this car was running into and get into somebody's driveway and the homes and all that. And they said, if you're speeding in Surrey, no officer is on the road to stop you to write you a speeding ticket. And they said, and maybe that could be true, I don't know. But the reason being, because they are so thinly stretched, because they have to deal with the crisis all the time, and they don't set up their speeding thing and then get the people, asking the people to slow down. Is that true that people are making joke about that? You can go as fast as you want in Surrey, nobody will stop you?
Well, not exactly. We just had an incident in Campbell Heights, an industrial area where there was a lot of young youth, particularly, that were, doing drag racing and all that sort of stuff. And the police worked very well with city staff to put in speed bumps, for an example. And they were down there policing, but really the police are so stretched thin in Surrey, they have to deal with the really high priority crimes, which is very unfortunate because sometimes speeding can result in death or in serious injury. So we need to stop speeding. We do have one thing, and a lot of people in Surrey may not know about this, but we have red light cameras.
Okay.
And the red light cameras means that if you race through a light, you may get a picture of your license plate in the mail along with a ticket. So word of caution to any of your listeners, don't speed because you may think the police aren't around, but indeed they are around, and we do have cameras too.
And we have two police forces working side by side to keep Surrey safe. I was looking at the clock too, and I think we are coming to an end. It's such an interesting topic for you who is so passionate about Surrey and have done so much work in the community with Grounds Up, going to every event, every school thing, community centers events and all that. Because I have been now noticing, and those people that are living in Surrey, what word of wisdom or advice you want to give it to them that we try to run, or you will try to run with the rest of the councillors and the mayor in a half decent capacity so that people feel welcome at the city hall. People can phone, people can talk to somebody if the garbage hasn't gone picked up. If they are living in a street where there are no street bumps and people are speeding or going too fast when the kids are playing on there are a lot of things to be dealt with, and not just in Surrey, but we are talking about Surrey today. What would you like to say?
I would like to say get engaged in your community. When you see things that you think aren't right or that should be changed or that we can do to make Surrey a better place, speak up. Our eyes and ears can't be everywhere, and as much as I love being in the community and I try to be in the community as much as I possibly can, people need to reach out and connect to their counselors, to connect to city staff when they see things that maybe could be improved. Don't ever hesitate to reach out to us, and all of our counselors, and certainly if anyone's wanting to reach out to me, they just need to go to the city website, and you can find my email address there, my contact info, or if there's a specific issue that you don't think needs counselor involvement, we have a great website. Go there and connect with city staff. But I do hope very soon that we will get City Hall open for an hour before council so that people can register and come and talk to us about issues that are very important to them.
Thank you so much, Linda.
My pleasure as always.
It's such an informative discussion that we had, and you have your hands in all the pots and so knowledgeable, as well as you also have a full-time job as executive director for the Crime Stoppers BC. Right?
Yes, I do, and it's a busy job too. We get in excess of 5,000 anonymous tips each year. Crime Stoppers is a place where people can call or go onto our website and leave information about suspected criminal activity anonymously. So if the police use that information and somebody gets arrested and charged, goes to court, nobody ever knows who it was that gave that information. So a little shout out to my Crime Stoppers, if I may, but if anyone knows anything, call 1-800-222-TIPS or visit our website, www.solvecrime.ca. And if English isn't your language, we have full translation services, and we're open 24/7.
Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Linda Ennis, for your insight on what's going on at the municipal level in regards to whether to keep the RCMP or keep SPS. You are the judge. Let's talk about the events that are coming up. Fundraiser for Christmas. This Christmas fundraiser is taking place on December 9th at Royal Banquet Hall in Burnaby at 7845 Edmund Streets. Door opens at 6:30 p.m. For tickets and more information, please call Nia at 604-603-4684 or Jose Chauhan at 779-892-7388. The proceeds from this year's fundraising will go to Moving Forward Counseling Society. Canadian Empowered Women of Fiji Foundation presents 2022 Christmas Dinner and Dance on December 2nd, 2022 at Khanna Banquet Hall in Surrey. Please bring an unwrapped toy for the toy drive. All toys collected will be donated to BC Children's Hospital Foundation. For tickets and more information, call 604-825-8261 or 604-831-0240.
Lower Mainland Multicultural Family Support Services and Asian Pulse are joining hands together to celebrate Women's Empowerment Day to help children and women in need. Come join us on December 11th at Grand Taj Banquet Hall for an early brunch, 11 to 3, and lots of activities, booths, and interesting events. For more information, please call Kamila Singh at 604-537-5123. Thank you.
Sahas Community Service Society. They provide helpline for people who are in crisis and need to talk to someone. They offer critical support, information, and resources for individuals and families in need. The number is 604-900-9221. Everything is kept confidential. Victor Drive, which is also called Victor Toy Drive. It is taking place on December 10th at Riverside Banquet Hall in Richmond. This is their 16th toy drive. Victor passed away at a very tender age due to sleep apnea. He used to secretly buy the toys and take them to BC Children's Hospital each and every year without his name or fame. He was named a man with a golden heart. You can drop off an unwrapped toy at Riverside Banquet Hall or call Harvey Cooner at 604-671-4180 or email him at harveycooner1@gmail.com. I ran out of time today, but I hope you have enjoyed the show as much as I enjoy hosting it for you guys. If you have missed our show, you can watch it again tomorrow at night at 8:30 and again on Saturday at 5:30 p.m. All of our shows are also uploaded on YouTube, so don't forget to like and subscribe. But before I leave today, I want to leave you with these thoughts. Sometimes life will kick you around, but sooner or later, you will realize that you're not just a survivor, you are a warrior. And with that, have a wonderful week. Take care of yourself. I'll see you next week again. This is your host, Manny Randhawa.